Game.
There we go. All right. Mike Golic joining us here on the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Chris Palermo. Thank you very much for that. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing well. You know, I'm actually going to stay through a Super Bowl, first time in 25 years.
God. Why would you do that?
Because I get to work it this year. Stunningly enough, I always left because I was jealous of everybody playing in it. So I'd be here all week and I'd leave like on Saturday and watch it from my couch. But now I'll be on the sideline, so I'm pretty excited.
And you were just on the sidelines for the Bucs-Rams game. So let's dig into that game a little bit. Just first give you the floor, the overall perspective from where you were. I mean, the Rams were kicking their ass. I mean, it wasn't even a game early on.
So watching that game and what a different – I'm normally in the booth, so having the vantage point of the field now, I can go and look at and listen to what different position groups are saying on the sideline. Early on, it was unbelievable disdain on the side of Tampa Bay. They couldn't get a pass rush.
Yeah.
The pass blocking of the Rams was phenomenal in that game. Stafford had all the time in the world.
With a new left tackle.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It was a right tackle. Right tackle. Yeah. You're right. Noteboom was out. Worse was out. Worse. Right. You're right. It was Noteboom. So the protection was phenomenal. They were tearing them up. And then, that game should have been iced without question. And then you lose 4 fumbles. Yeah. And you keep giving Tom. Now, they didn't take advantage of everyone, but you knew Tom was going to eventually. Yeah. And he did. First hits a deep one to Evans, and then a nice one. Everybody thinks it's going to be a quarterback sneak by Tom inside the 10. Fournette bounced it to the outside and scores. So that became a game, which I was fine with. I have no rooting interest working the game. That became a game that shouldn't have become a game.
Yeah. And then the last sequence for Cooper Kupp, who the Bucs have just had all kinds of trouble with, that last Todd Bowles call that will live in infamy. Great coach. We love Coach Bowles.
Yeah.
But, coaches have bad games too, and he calls a zero blitz and puts Cooper Kupp one-on-one with a safety. Probably not his finest hour.
Well, the thing about that is, talking to Stafford after that one, they called that route for the love of the game route.
Yeah.
Which means it wasn't supposed to go to Cooper Kupp. He was just supposed to run everybody off, and you're doing it for the love of the game, right? You're not, but you get one person, your linebacker, that doesn't get the call. It doesn't blitz. He's standing there like in space. So not at all bringing any pressure, because if he's coming, maybe there's pressure and maybe he can't loft it up there. We don't know. We'll never know. But then there's Kupp one-on-one, like you said. There was supposed to be quick pressure, and he wasn't supposed to be able to get the ball off.
Well, Sue, I think the Rams actually misblocked it because Sue came scot-free. And let's give Matthew Stafford some credit. You got Dominican Sue coming at you full force, and he back-footed it. What a throw to Cooper Kupp.
And you see Kupp break into the inside, so you're like, okay, I'm just going to loft it up there and let him run under it.
And then our former kicker puts an end to it. I mean, just in the sense of, I was just surprised that the Bucs didn't go no huddle, didn't like they had done the week previously.
Right.
So the execution was tremendous. They didn't do that. I thought the Bucs got out-coached in that game.
I thought they got out-coached, and all that said, they tied it up and had a chance.
Yeah.
All that said, you knew when they tied it up, you're like, well, Tom's going to pull this out.
Yeah.
Tom's going to find a way.
Yeah.
And shockingly enough, he had to stand on the sideline and watch the other team pull it out.
Mike Oak joined us here. And speaking of Brady, do you think he's done?
So here's the thing. So when somebody retires, what do all of us do? Speculate if he's going to come back. Tom has already done that. Tom hasn't been out a week. And he said, I'm not saying I'm permanently retired. I'm like, oh, my God, dude, are you serious? So obviously it was a family decision. Whatever he and Gisele's conversations were, obviously between them. But he doesn't sound like a guy that wants to be done playing. And we know he can still play well. So it will be interesting if it's not in Tampa. Is there another place his opportunity comes? But I was stunned. Not even a week later, he's the one ending the speculation on whether he's fully retired.
It's a little bizarre because, Levante David came out after the season and said there was kind of some turmoil, which there's always a little bit of that on any team, right?
Yeah.
But there was some turmoil in the building. Seth Wickersham, who's a Brady confidant, said that this was a much tougher year than people know, that there's things going on in the building. We're hearing of a rift between BA and Tom Brady. And I'm just kind of wondering out loud, is this Brady's way of saying, look, let's fix it. I don't want to go play anywhere else, but I want to play another year. I'm at the top of my game. So I'm going to retire. I'll leave the door open. So, it's a way of telling the Bucs, listen, fix it and maybe I'll come back. I don't know.
couldn't you just go in an office and talk?
You think?
I mean, what in this era of communication, there certainly seems to be a lack of it occasionally. If you got a problem with someone, so I was brought up, knock on the door, go in the office, close the door, and discuss it.
Right.
You still may not agree, but at least you know where each other stands instead of, if this in fact is true, I'm not talking about this situation, but anywhere you're playing games through the media or something.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens, but it just, I just don't get the sense he's done.
I don't either.
Right?
I don't either, because he said it.
He's at the top of his game, by the way.
It's not like people say, "Oh, you media people just don't want." No, he said it.
A week later.
Yes.
Hey, a week with the kids. Throw a few
Oh,
passes.
good.
Back.
I gotta go. Back to
Sorry,
Tommy
Giselle.
time.
It's my time. Mike Golic joining us here. So, talk about this game. This game, obviously, Joe Burrow, I think, is one of the great stories in this game, the great equalizer, if you will. I mean, how do you make sense of getting sacked 9 times against the Titans and winning this game? The pressure he was under last game, their offensive line is just not up to snuff against this great defensive line. It's hard to make a case for the Bengals to win, but yet
they win.
With this guy, they
win.
Yeah.
Tennessee sacked him 9 times, should have been 11, and they won. He is the first quarterback to play in the Super Bowl who has sacked the most in the regular season, the first. So they find a way to win. I talked to Jonah Williams, the left tackle, a few days ago to get ready for the game, and he said, listen, we know what's going on. We know the talk. We know we've struggled. He said, but it's not like you can change anything now. You go out, you try and block and execute. If you don't on a play, 40 seconds later, there's another play. We can't mope about it. We got to go play the next play.
Right.
So, but there's things you can do. You know, everybody talks about max protect, tight end stay in, back stay in, blah, 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 which can happen, draw screens. But to me, it comes down to field position. Where are you on third? You 3rd and 3 or less? You 3rd and 7 plus? Is it obvious passing, or is it you have a more open playbook? 3rd and 3 or less, you can block with 5 because you can throw quick slants, get a first down. 3rd and 7 plus, routes got to develop a little more down the field. A little tougher to block 5 on 5, because if you block 5 on 4 in this game consistently, Rams would destroy him.
Right.
I mean, Joe Burrow is going to get sacked and he's going to get hit, but they've been able to win. So let's see how he pulls out this one.
One other quick question about the Bucs, going back to them and their quarterback situation. Say if Brady does not come back, who do you see taking those snaps? Is it Russell Wilson? Is it Aaron Rodgers? I think his salary doesn't really fit.
What would be tough? Well, I mean, that's what you start doing. I mean, is placing, right?
Yeah.
Because I was talking to people in Seattle, and some want Russ back. Others are saying time to move on. My thing with Russ is, with his cap number, if you can build still a team around him that's viable, do it. If you don't think you can, get rid of him and start over again.
Start over, right.
So, Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh, maybe they got to fix that O-line a little bit. You are kind of ready-made in Tampa with some of the talent. Yes, and that's what these guys are looking for.
Yeah.
A Garoppolo, is he like maybe a Cleveland guy possibly, where they live on the running game and don't have to live off his arm all the time?
Good point,
So it's interesting trying to place these players in different teams. But Russ in Tampa Bay.
How do you think that fits? I think it's a great fit.
How would it not fit? Russ can pass well. He can escape well. Certainly different than Tom in the fact that he'll run around all over the place and create for you as well. It certainly, listen, after Brady, I mean, who else? Again, that's a question. Who do you get? You get someone like Russ. You get another Hall of Famer,
Right. And when you have a Pro Bowl, you have 9 Pro Bowlers on this roster.
Yes.
7 of them under contract.
You got to take advantage of it now.
Exactly.
Yes.
You don't start a rebuild with a fresh quarterback, right?
No.
Absolutely.
No.
So, Mike Golic joining us here. Obviously, you're an iconic figure in the sports world with so many years with Mike and Mike. What's that like now? And reflecting on that time together, that you guys did something that's just will never be done again.
It's one of those where we went into it because I first got to ESPN. They wanted me to do. We started the National Morning Show with Tony Bruno, who I knew when I played in Philly. When he was in Philly, I loved Tony.
Yeah.
We did that for less than a year. Then he left, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I moved my whole family from Arizona to here, and the guy I'm doing the show with left. And then we had 13 different people auditioning for the job. Greeny wasn't a candidate; he was a fill-in one day when someone who was auditioning didn't make it. But it was like instant chemistry, kind of the yin and the yang thing. And I think what helped, in all honesty, is when we started, we were carried, basically me and Tony, in one affiliate, Chicago. We weren't heard anywhere else. So we slowly grew. So when Greeny and I started, we weren't even heard in Hartford, where ESPN is. Our bosses couldn't even hear us. So we got to work through a lot of beginning stuff, things we were good at, things we stunk at that we could work on and fix. So by the time a lot of people were listening to us, we were kind of hitting our stride.
Yeah.
And right place, right time. We had a good mix. Then they put us on TV, and it just happened to hit ratings, TV, radio. So now you're making the company a lot of money. So it works out for you as well. And, it was a great wave to ride for a while. It really was a lot of fun.
Why did it come to an end?
Well, I mean, Greeny wanted to go do his thing.
Yeah.
He wanted to go do TV, and he wanted to be in New York. And he didn't want, to do the show anymore. He wanted to be by himself, which certainly is his right to do. So that was that.
And now for you, life is
for me, me and Trey and my son Mike did the show for 3 more years, and then ESPN decided they had enough of me. And I had a fun year this year. Did a bunch of full slate of college games for Learfield, the Saturday night game of the week. Did a bunch of games for Westwood One. Get to do the Super Bowl. Work with Mike Florio and Chris Sims on Pro Football Talk.
Yeah,
that I did a couple of podcasts. So I'll kind of streamline that next year. I did a lot this year, streamline it next year, but I can kind of pick and choose, which is nice. I miss the everyday talk. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I didn't want it all to end at ESPN, but didn't have a choice. Kind of like when I got cut from a football team, didn't have a choice. But I enjoyed it.
How do you feel the pathway of ESPN is going now? I mean, their ratings have tanked tremendously.
I mean, it depends. I mean, some of the shows rate, some don't. I think it's like everything else. I think people's awareness have gone to other places through COVID over the last couple of years. It's tough to get a gauge on what's real and what's not because of COVID.
True.
We thought COVID was going to be over, but it's still going on. Hopefully we're getting toward the end of it. I don't know if things will ever go back to normal, but I think the consumption by the viewer has changed in all aspects, not just ESPN, to different things now. It isn't what it once was, like when Greeny and I are doing the show. It's a different time now.
Well, allow me to go to school a little bit. Been doing this a long time, but I'm always learning. Should always be learning.
Yes.
What do you think the key is to good sports talk radio, especially these days? And things have changed. Politics have come into it.
Yeah.
Pop culture is big into it.
Yep.
I'm not saying any that's a positive, but especially the politics. But,
right.
But it's part of our life now. You have to talk about these things.
You do. If it affects sports, you got to talk about it. Other than that, I would never talk about politics. But you have to at times. For me, it's been very simple. I've never steered away from just being myself. Self-deprecating at times. I make mistakes on air all the time. Acknowledge them, laugh, move on. I never wanted to be the guy that talked at somebody. I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to sit at the bar, have a beer, and make it like it's that discussion. You could be right sometimes. I could be right sometimes. And just do that. And Greeny and I had a good chemistry.
Yeah.
He was a fan and a writer, and I was a player. And even Trey was kind of the same way. And then when my son Mike was on it as well, that was a lot of fun just because of the generation gap and everything. But it was really just, and my dad said it a long time ago. I mean, just you have to be yourself, because if the mic goes on, you try and put on an act, people figure it out.
Authenticity.
And you know what? If the bosses didn't like it and it didn't rate, my career would have been a lot shorter.
That's right.
That's just the way it goes.
Something right.
Yeah.
Something right. But tell me what you're here for representing. Shaq's got a new water.
Yeah,
I've been drinking it all week.
Shaq's a partner in this company, Alkaline 88. The water is fantastic. And listen, Shaq believing in something certainly helps, right? Yeah. But everybody says, okay, what's the 88? 88 is 8.8 pH. It's basically perfectly balanced water, ionized. There's a lot of water out there. I get it. So I'm sure people are like, well, what separates it? Well, it tastes phenomenal. Yeah. And one of the big things is for hydration, you need less of this to get you fully hydrated because it's so perfectly balanced. And it tastes phenomenal. But you need less of it. You don't have to chug a ton to get rehydrated. Right. You can drink less of this and you'll get rehydrated because it absorbs, because of the balance, it absorbs into your body a lot quicker. Awesome. So I've been drinking it all week, and it has a unique texture to it. It's so pure. It's very good. They use Himalayan rock salt. Is that it? I don't know. Whatever it is. I mean, it's like soft on your tongue. It's very good. It's amazing. It's good stuff. Well, Mike, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it. My pleasure. And come back to Tampa anytime. I will do that. Thanks. Awesome. Thank you. Mike Golic.